Hello, it is time for Art in the AM in November. It is the first Art in the AM for November, and what I thought I would do today is to show you how I prep my journal that I'll do for November. So during the month of October, November, and December, I really try to kind of come back to that habit of creating every day. And I follow the prompts that I give inside of my Art Journaling 101 group. So I have printed them off and I shrunk them down a little bit because the very first step in kind of developing like a daily creative habit, I feel like is doing it inside of a journal. And the first thing that you want to do is pick out the journal. And I wanted to show you the one that I'm going to use for November. It's the 3rd, and I have not started the leaf prompts yet, which are the ones for November. You can let me know if you're in my Art Journaling 101 group. If you have started, I kind of took the weekend to think about, prepare, all that kind of thing. So today was going to be my first day that I started the journal, but I do plan on doing all 30 prompts. That is my goal, to do all 30 prompts. Some of them don't take very long. So a lot of times what happens is I do more than one page in a day. So today's prompt is a crayon leaf, And I have some thoughts and ideas. I don't really have a plan necessarily of what I want to do. But let me talk to you about how to pick out a journal and how not to pick out a journal. So I'm going to give you some maybe things to think about, or journals maybe that you don't want to use depending on what it is that you want to do. So first I will show you the journal that I am using is one that I have had. It was a leftover from when I had an art journaling subscription box. I would put a journal in there and other supplies and things like that. So this is considered a sketchbook, and it is 60 sheets. So I know that will be perfect for the month of November. So you want to pick a journal that has the right amount of pages for what it is that you want to do. If you want to do a monthly one, if you want to do an annual one and you want to do one page every week, then you would want to make sure it has 52 pages. You know, however it is that you want to divide up and make sure that your journal has that many pages. This particular one is a 5.5 by 8.5. I like this size because I feel like it's not too large that I'm spending an hour and a half or 2 hours or, on a page, but it's large enough that it gives me some space to be able to try out some things. So you want to consider the size of the journal. And then this is 65 pounds is the weight of the page. Good morning, Sue. I just saw your comment come through. I saw your little picture up in the corner there. So 65 pounds is not very thick, and that's why it's called a sketchbook instead of like a mixed media book. But these pages in here, I have used this journal, this type of journal, several times, and the pages actually accept different media pretty well. I tend to do a lot more collage to start with the base of my pages, which works well for just about any type of, any weight page. But 65 pounds, I'd say, is the thinnest probably that you want. You want to consider the size, the number of pages, and the weight of the page. And this works pretty well. I will also say that I consider the binding of the journal, and sometimes I like to do a spiral, and sometimes I like to have a bound book. And I have my past 3 November journals, which if you have been paying attention here or even in my Art Journaling 101 group, I have shown a flip through of 2 of those. And I'll have to look to see. I think it was 2023 that I haven't shown a flip through for yet. I'll have to notice which one that is. but you can tell me if you saw either one of those flip throughs in the past like week or so. Hi there, Gail. So this is the one that I'm going to use. It has this brown cover, but I will end up doing the cover. I usually save the cover for last and do that last. And so picking the journal is something that you want to consider for whatever your goal is. My goal is to do all 30 of the November prompts. Now, my goal last month was also to do all 31 prompts in the October list. But I decided, and I'm trying to, where that is. I decided I got this idea to make my own journal. Hi there, Cheryl. I'm glad that you made it. I know you were asking yesterday, like, how do I know when you go live and where do you go? And I did send a text message to my list here for my business page and then for my Art Journaling 101 group. So I'm glad that you found it, and even though you're not getting the text messages. So the journal that I decided to make, I thought was a good idea. But here are the things that didn't work, because I've only done about 4 or 5 of the 31 prompts in October. And usually October is when I kind of get back into the habit of creating every day. So this is the journal that I created. I don't even have the cover done yet. And I will show you, I decided to use paper from my Amazon boxes. So it's craft paper. So number one, the paper, too thin. I've realized that if I want to do anything on these pages, I have to thicken the pages. And that has usually meant, and I'll show you, I haven't even posted a picture of this one yet. This was the one for the very last day. But I put paper in the background, like a heavier weight scrapbook paper, right? The heavier ones, not just the paper, but like the thicker, like cardstock. So I put that down over top of the craft paper in here. And now that's a heavier weight page. And I'll show you the paper that's on the back here is this. It was this paper. It had all this writing on there. And I did a reel, if you saw it yesterday, that I put the paper down and I added some color, not as much color on this one. And then I took a brayer and I put the white. So you probably can't tell right off that it's this paper in the background, right? And I collaged to create a focal point, and I did some lettering. This is the same technique that I showed on that reel for an easy process. If you go back to like yesterday afternoon here on my page, you'll see that reel. And that is the same process that I use here. I collaged, I added some color, I added a focal point, and then I lettered. That 4-step process is probably what I will use on most of this journal. And I do still plan on going back. I started kind of prepping some different pages in here. I'm looking to see which other ones I've done. It was at the beginning. So I have this page ready, another scrapbook page. Hi there, Wanda. Another scrapbook page, which is a thicker page, right? That cardstock weight. And then I also got this one. I love this paper. So I'm using a lot of my scrapbook papers. The other thing that it really didn't work very well for this one, I like the size of it, so the size works. But the binding, there is no binding. So it's kind of, I haven't figured out, to kind of take this and bind it. So this probably would have worked if I would have known some of those things beforehand. I still plan on finishing this one and adding in the pumpkin pages into there, but it's not going to be done. Probably not even done in November. I'll probably try to get it done in November. But anyway, picking your journal is important because it keeps you motivated to work inside here. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I prep this one, and I will show you some pages from day 3, which is today's prompt, in my other 3 journals, and then how I'm going to kind of get started on this one in this journal. So I'm going to go ahead and push it down here, and oh, see, it's moving around. There we go. So I'll turn around so you can kind of see it here. So see, it started sliding again. I'm so sorry about that. You're watching and then all of a sudden the camera starts moving around. See if I can get it a little bit more sturdy there. There we go. The first thing that I usually do, I just realized that I left my lid off my glue stick. That's not going to be good. Hopefully it's down at the end of my glue stick. Sorry, little squirrel moment there. So the first thing that I usually do to prep my journal is on this inside cover, I will attach this. And that way I have, you know what? Well, I'm going to cut it. Sometimes I will rip this and put it in the front. But this way I have the list, and I'll show you in my other books what I've done is check those off. Now, you may have a different goal. You may just want to pick and choose which one of these you do. And you may just do them inside of a random journal, and that's fine too. My goal is always to try to do something every single day that's creative. So some kind of something creative every single day. So if I was just to add this on here, it would be kind of hard to tell the difference. So I think what I'm going to do is on the back, or well, on this, I'm going to add some color. And I'm going to take some of the colors from these leaves here. So I'm going to do an orange. I was looking, I have some papers over here. Well, I'm going to do paint. I thought about doing some collage. So I'm just going to put some paint right on here. This is the easiest way, is just to add paint right on your surface and just kind of work with that. Now, I don't know that I've ever put paint on like the inside of the cover like this. I think I'm going to do just a little bit of, well, I think I want this lighter brown. These just happen to be colors that are out here on my table. This is going to be way more paint than I probably need. And I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. And then I am just going to take a brush here. But what I'm going to do, I know this paint's going to go off the edges. So I have this piece of acetate. Piece of plastic. You could use parchment paper, wax paper. I'm going to start with the orange. Oh, this really absorbs up the paint. But I want to be able to go all the way off the edges, so that's why I wanted to have something behind. Oh, that's really interesting actually, that it absorbs so much into that cardboard. And this is just going to, you know, have it so that there's a little bit of color back behind. And I really don't even need any color in the middle there, because that's where that paper is going to be glued in. But this gives me a way to kind of try out this cardboard here too. So I kind of did the orange first, then went into the brown, and now I didn't even clean off my brush. I'm going into the yellow. And I just have to tell you, I kind of like this look. I will probably try this on one of the pages inside my journal. I have a lot of leftover yellow, so I'm, oh, got a little goopy thing there too. Oh my gosh, I hit the stand. I am so sorry. Oh my goodness. So I have a little bit of that yellow extra right there. So not a whole lot really, not as much as I thought that I would probably have. So I'm just gonna blend it out a little bit. It's really not gonna matter in the middle, but I really like the look of this. I'm definitely gonna try this in my journal. Now it's gonna react different on the paper, but those three colors are very fall-like, aren't they? The fun thing about this too, it dries pretty quick. Hi there, Tony. Hi, Shannon. Hey, Wanda. This is one of the first things that I like to do to prep, is to know that I have my list in here. And I'm just going to dry this really quick. If you have not seen me use this Heat It craft tool, it's the best. It's really quiet. It's really hot. So it dries everything really quickly. I just love this background. I really love how that looks. And these aren't colors, except during the fall, that I normally use. So I'm even kind of thinking about what other colors could I use to get like the same effect. I think it has something to do with it being on the cardboard too. I really do. You know, on the back of this cover. Okay, and then I'm not going to use the glue stick that got all dried out. I'm going to use this other one. I could see where the background that I have, if I would have torn this page, it would have blended in really well to that background, but I just decided to cut it. And just to make sure that's the top, this is the top. You always want to check that. You always want to check to make sure you're putting it in the right direction. Okay, and then what I do whenever I'm gluing down, I like to use like my credit card, and really like an old credit card or scraper, and I see where it's not glued down really well right down here, but I feel like using that helps it to adhere better. So I'm going to add just a little bit of glue right on the back here. Okay, now I feel like this journal is ready because I have my list to follow. Oh, I even have some yellow that kind of got on there. And I might even do that like with this piece of paper. Let me try this. This is the yellow that I used, isn't it? Because I didn't rip this, see if I can maybe not make too much of a mess. I'm just getting a little bit of yellow paint. And I'm kind of softening up the edges. A little bit of yellow in there. I don't know. So you want to pick the journal. You want to make sure that it has enough pages. This one has 30, well, it has 60 pages. So that means that there are 30 papers. I could probably do that with a brush too, but I kind of like using my fingers sometimes. You like kind of finger painting? I don't know. So I might just kind of come in and just like soften the edges a little bit more in there. But the next thing that I will probably do, I like to go in order just so that I know when I flip through, like page number 1 is the leaf collage, page number 2, realistic leaf, page number 3 that I'm going to do today is the crayon leaf. However, sometimes I don't work in order. So let me show you what I mean. For the leaf collage, that's going to be on this page. So probably what I would do, and I'm just going to use my friction pen. You don't have a friction pen. When you use the heat, I'll show you, when you use the heat, they disappear. So I might just make this leaf collage. And then the next one would be Realistic Leaf. And this next one, day 3, is Crayon Leaf. And this does have 60 pages. It has 60 sheets. So I can use both of these as one page, right? I can have it go across, but I'm still going to have 60 sheets. So I can glue 2 of these together if I wanted to have it thicker. So I'll decide that later. But I want to show you with the friction pen. I want to show you up here close. So it will actually erase, the heat will make that go away. That's what I wanted to say. So if you watch right there, see, it's gone. And I didn't get like that very corner right there. But that's the nice thing about using the friction pen is now if I decided that I wanted to, glue these 2 sheets together, now I can make this one the Realistic Leaf. And I think that might be what I'm going to do. Make this one the Realistic Leaf. Where'd my... And you know what I could do is I could make, when I attach these 2 sheets together, I could just glue it on the 2 edges right here, and I could make this a pocket. And I could make a pocket of, I just got an idea. I can make that a pocket where I could put different things in there. So there's my Realistic Leaf, and I will attach that so that I have a little pocket inside here. And this one is going to be the Crayon Leaf. And so what I would do is, now that I have this list inside here, I could take this anywhere with me, right? And I could just go through and, do you like my yellow finger there? And I could just go through and I could just label all of the pages, and then I could even take, I really like when I'm doing pockets to use this double-sided tape from Dollar Tree. So this is all still prepping my journal, right? And what I would do is I would put this tape just on the edges, and I'll show you a little trick that I learned to do. I lay down my credit card and then I just rip it on there, and I'll put another one on the other edge here. You know what I'm going to do with the pockets? What would you do if you had a pocket for the month of November? I'm doing leaves. What would you do in the pocket? I have 2 different ideas, and I haven't decided yet which one I'll do. What would you put inside the pockets? Okay, so I'm putting this double-sided tape. I'm going to press it down really well with the old credit card, or you could use, something else. And then I'm showing you all kinds of little tips here. And then I have one of these little pickers. I'm pretty sure I got this from the Dollar Tree too, right? It has that needle on the end. And I will take these. And since I pressed it down really well, the tape is sticking to the paper. And I can just pull this. This is how I attach the papers in my October journal, the scrapbook papers. This is exactly how I did it. And then what I will do is I will bring this and line it up. That tape from Dollar Tree is really sticky, so you want to get it lined up pretty well. And then I can just press it down. And now I have this pocket. And that makes that paper a little bit thicker there too. So I kind of like that. I have an idea for that. What would you put in the pockets? Hey there, Janet. What would you put in this pocket? I have two different ideas that I'm thinking about doing. One, since it's November, I could do like a gratitude journal, right? And I could maybe take a little note card, right? I have like these little note cards and they fit perfectly right in there. I could even make like a little tab or something to be able to pull them out of there. I could also, on this note card, I could write what I'm grateful for. I think that that would be an awesome way to look back, and I could date them, and I could, I could even decorate the other side of the card, and I could put those in there. That could be like a whole nother added, part of it. Or I was thinking one of my journals for last October, I think it was, I wrote down how I created the page. So I could put a note card inside the pocket of how I created the page. So I don't know. If those were your two options, which one of those would you do? Would you do a gratitude journal, or would you do like describing how you created the page? And I think these note cards would work perfect in there. So that might be even another thing that I do to prep the pages, is to put the note card in there. And I could put it in this way, and it actually sticks up out of the journal a little bit to make it easy to get to. So this is all prepping the journal, right? Picking out the journal with the pages and the size and the binding and the weight and everything that you want it to be. Gluing in the ideas, so you have those right there with you. Remember, this list is inside of my Art Journaling 101 group. And writing on the pages. So now, once I have those in there, I can come back and I can do whatever page it is that I wanted to do. So this one will be a pocket. So now this one will be my crayon leaf. And I'm only going to do just the one side. So you kind of have to decide if you're going to do both pages or if you're just going to do the one side. And really, that's all part of the prep. Janet loves a gratitude journal. Sue, the description, both ideas Cheryl says are great. Honestly, on the note card, I could do gratitude, and on the other side, I could describe how I did the page. So I could actually do both. So I haven't decided because I just came up with the pocket idea. But I would go through, I would label all the pages, I would create the pockets, and then I would put the note card in there. You wouldn't have to do the note card in the pocket. You could just glue the pages together if you decided that that was how you wanted to lay out your book. What I want to do before I do the crayon leaf here, and I'm just going to do it on this one page, I'm going to show you some of my past ones that I had done. This is my journal from 2022. And this is one where I didn't do them in order, and I don't have them labeled. I have the list. I made it really, really small because I decided that I was going to do this journal. This journal is a blank book, and it's kind of like a harder cardboard, and you could do it this way too. I chose to do it landscape, and I just shrunk down the list really small. So I have them all crossed off, which is another thing that you can do inside the journal there, but I don't have them labeled for which one's which. So let me see if I can figure out which one is the crayon, and I will just kind of flip through and show you as I go along. That one I'm pretty sure is not crayons. I don't think that it was. And I did them on the back of the pages because I think there were only 15 pages in here. Jana says she wished she had more time. Jana, if you ever have like leftover paint, you could just like put it in a journal, and that's kind of how I get started on the page. And yeah, sometimes they're just like leftovers from something else that I'm doing. So I'm not seeing crayon exactly yet. A crayon leaf. This one is kind of fun with the letters. I think this is one of the ones that I did the flip through of. Now, some of them I do have in the corners what they are. That one says colorful. Although that doesn't look like a colorful leaf exactly. So let me see if I can find a crayon leaf. I am just not seeing which one is the crayon leaf. They are kind of labeled inside there, but maybe this one is the crayon. Maybe I did use crayons on that black inside there. So maybe that is, well, this wouldn't be the crayon though. This would be, well, that's not a leaf collage. I don't know. I don't know in that one which one is the crayon one. This is the journal from 2023, and I don't have my list inside there, but I did go through and label them, and I'm pretty sure that I did these in order. So this one is the crayon leaf, and I believe that it's just the leaves that are in crayon, and this is painted, and then I wrote in gold back there. I don't, maybe the background is crayon in that one too. This one, I don't think that I have done a flip through of. I don't think that I've done a flip through of this one yet. And then this is the one that I did last year, completely different type of journal. It has the little ribbons, and it has, you know, this, which works really well to have it. And I didn't really need to design the cover since it was already this nice brown leather-ish kind of cover. So I labeled it, and these have this fun little pocket in the front, so I was able to put things in there. I have the list, and I was able to check all those off. I did more journaling inside here, like how I felt as I got started there. And, you know, a lot more journaling in here. And these don't look like the crayon ones either. This looks like the crayon. This one looks like the crayon leaf. Oh, yep. It even says right up on top there, crayon leaf, and this is the watercolor leaf. So I kind of did, you know, just smaller versions of those. So the watercolor leaf, I used a wax crayon. But I put in here about how I like the muted kind of look of that. Okay, back to the journal for today. This is what I was thinking. I have crayons, but they are oil pastel crayons. So what I thought about doing is I have collected some leaves. And let's see if I can get them out over here. And I have been pressing them in these books. So I open this one up. I have all of these leaves pressed in this book. And what I want to find is a good leaf where I could do a rubbing. So I have several in this book. I feel like I have some even in this one. Maybe not. This is one of, oh, yep, I do have one in here. Little tiny one there. This is one of my other favorite journals. This is like a 5x5 kind of journal. I think I got this at Hobby Lobby, and and you could have it, you know, go either way. But I'm going to use that one. I think I have, yep, I have some leaves pressed in this. And then I have this book. Look at this gigantic leaf that I have. That one might make, oh, look at how pretty that one is. If you're going to do the leaf collage, you may decide that you want to go out and get some leaves while they're still looking pretty. That might be the only two that I have pressed in here. Oh, no, I have it. Ooh, look at how pretty that one is. Oh, that has some nice veins on the back. Maybe I'll do that one. Ooh, that made the kind of an interesting, because it was wet, it made an interesting impression on there. Look at how pretty that one is. My book, I really like that one too. Okay. So I've collected a lot of leaves, and what I thought I would do, because I don't have this one already made as a pocket, it will work out really well. So I'm going to try laying this down and doing a rubbing with the oil pastels. So I feel like I want a darker kind of color. Let's do the green. So oil pastels will resist water, right? Because they are, because oil and water don't mix, right? So my thought is I'm going to do this oil pastel, and then I'm going to do some watercolors over top of it and have this resist. So I have the green, and then I feel like I want maybe, I'm looking for one that's already unwrapped. It's hard to get the paper off of those. Oh, I have this orange, and then I want maybe like a reddish. Looking for one that's already unwrapped. This is real time because I didn't really have an idea before I came on live of what I wanted to do. Okay, so this one feels like, so I'm going to use these three colors. And so I have this leaf behind there, but I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and have this one also. I don't want them exactly touching, but I want to get all of the leaf on there. Try it that way. Okay, so I'm going to lay this on my side, on its side. And it's picking up the veins, right? It's picking up the veins that are sticking up. And here's the green. The green is, ooh, that showed up really well for the, yeah, where that sticks up, that really shows up well. Let me do a little bit of red. The green is hard because it was a larger, oh, that one's not coming out very well at all. Let's try a different one. I'm going to go ahead and peel the paper off here. Did you ever do this kind of like rubbing kind of thing when you were younger? Hey there, Lori! Because that's what it's kind of reminding me of, like when I was a kid and you did like rubbings of like, I mean, I remember going around like rubbing all kinds of things, and that's what this kind of reminds me of. So I'm going to do the oil pastel. I'm going to use this red, and I'm going to go ahead and break it. Yeah, the red doesn't show up like as well as I thought that it would. It's kind of more of a muted kind of red. But you know, isn't that how the leaves are? They kind of pick up, you know, different colors. I'm going to go over here to this one and see if I can get kind of some of the edges a little bit more. I feel like I kind of like the green the best, actually. So I'm going to go ahead and break it and see if I can't get... There's something about the contrast of the green. Okay. And I will press these back in my book so I can keep them in there. And now what I want to do is some watercolor. And then I'll finish up this crayon leaf. So I would love to know if you keep a journal and if you plan on doing even just one leaf prompt from the prompts that I give inside of our Journaling 101. So you have to be a member over in that group. It's just one of my free groups if you want to get access to the leaf prompts. So I'm putting some water on some areas, and you can see where it's already resisting, but it's for the purpose of the watercolor. Now this paper won't really accept too much water, so I'm going in with some red. And we'll kind of see, I don't know, we'll kind of see what kind of effect that gives. I think I want a little bit of, I'm going to stay with the reds. For me, the journal gives me a place to kind of play and to just try things. And sometimes they aren't anything, oh, I love that resist right there. The red against that green. But sometimes while I'm doing this, I get other ideas, right? I get other ideas of what it is that I can do. Definitely where I press down harder with the green, that's giving me like the best resist in there. And that red was definitely more intense down in there. So this right here is like my favorite little part of that resist. And I'm just kind of doing some other, I don't know now that I painted over the friction pen there, if that will still go away when I add the heat to it. I'm going to try that. I'm going to add a little bit more red in there because there's some of that green. See if I can get some of that resist in there. Oh, yeah. I really like the red and the green. So that makes me think of, for December, when I do the Christmas card challenge, which is the prompts in December, I can definitely use the crayon resist with the red and the green and do some fun things in December. Anyway, that is my idea for the crayon leaf. And the last thing I'm going to do is see if I can use my heat gun and if it will lift up those letters. So let's try. I don't know now I've painted over top of it if it will or not. It doesn't look like it is. Oh, maybe it's just taking a little bit longer. There it goes. It just took a little bit longer. So it's in order. I don't have to keep it labeled that it's the crayon leaf. So probably what I would do to finish off this page is to maybe do some lettering, right? Because that's kind of like part of the process. And maybe do a quote. Maybe do, I don't know, I have like some letter stamps, you know, some different things. So I might do some kind of a quote or something on there. But I really like the red against that green. That really reminds me of a lot of the like fall kind of colors. So there's my start and how to prep the November journal. To pick out your journal according to the size, the binding, the weight of the papers, and have your list if you're going to follow the list that I have in Art Journaling 101, and then prep it and kind of decide, am I going to do a 2-page layout? Am I just going to do one? And kind of prep how you want your pages to go in there. And then I will write all of the prompts in there, so if I wanted to do the prompt for day 20 because I have an idea based on whatever it is, then I could just go right to page 20 and I could do them out of order. Sometimes I just have done crayon leaf is what I'm doing today, and I'll just go with whatever the idea is. So that's entirely up to you too. But I provide those as a way to kind of give you a spark of an idea, because sometimes isn't that the hardest thing, is to get started and to like figure out. So at least by having a prompt, you already have the idea and, you know, at least have a direction to be able to go. So there is my start to my November journal. Look for a flip through of the third one that I have not done yet. And I'm probably going to do a flip through of all of the October ones and finish up my October journal too. So I hope you have fun with the crayon leaf if that's the one that you're doing for today. And maybe you have some oil pastels, maybe you have some regular crayons, and whatever that looks like. You can draw a leaf with a crayon. It doesn't have to be a rubbing. It can be anything. That's what the journal is for, to just experiment and play around and to try things and have fun. So there you go. That's your permission today, is to have fun and try out some things in your journal for November. That's why I kind of get back into October, November, December, just trying something every day and just trying something creative that I've never done before. So there you go. That is your Art in the AM for today. Remember that this video does get downloaded to my YouTube channel. So if you would like to go over there and kind of watch, you know, several videos kind of in a row, it will be over there. And you can just put YT in the comments if you need the link over to my YouTube channel. So I will see you next week, next Monday at 10:30 for the next prompt, which would be day 10. And I don't know what that is without looking at it, but that's what will be on Art in the AM next week. So I'll see you then.